Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for watching today. So today, this week, a new book, and we're going back to habits. So I just started reading this book, so I'm going. I've only read it once, or starting to read it once. So all the other books I've been talking about, I've read more than once, at different occasions. So this one, is a new book. A great friend of mine. She said she's going to be watching today. Amy O'Brien turned me on to this book, and I love, love, love habit books because I'm a creature of habit, and I think that you have to understand habits, understand what you're doing every day. And in this book, so far, that as far as I've been reading, he's got lots of great stories in businesses and how they and he didn't even realize some of the great stories he talks about of that there's habits in there and things that you're getting connected to, and why you buy products and why you do things. So I am going to put my little twist on it and how to use it in real estate sales and kind of create a habit for yourself and kind of use it. I'm trying to put together some of the same stories he tells about some products and some services and why people use different products and services and what those companies did to get people to be in a habit of things. So I have some good ideas on that. So first, um, the Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. Charles Duhigg is a investigative or reporter journalist, and has a great insight of habits. So we did talk about the power or Atomic Habits. That was one of my favorite books. Did a couple months ago. So a lot of this has about some of the same things to it, but it did get me thinking about some other great things to think about too on real estate side. But I'll say, so today I just want to give you a little bit because I'm reading along too. So you're actually going to be hearing from me about what I just read the night before. But so today, the first part of the book kind of goes into the basics of habit, of course, and he brings the habit loop. There's a cue, routine, and reward. Cue, routine, and reward. And also it just doesn't, and he brings it the example like of just driving a car, how many different things that you have to do to remember, have that habit. And also the author brings up thoughts of like, how do people that have illnesses or accidents and lose their memory, and lose mental functions, but they still remember things because the habits are so ingrained deep down in your brain that you just do things on that. And that made me thought because he was talking about driving a car and how many of us now, with the, over what when you your first car, the first car you bought or leased or whatever, when you first didn't have a key anymore, you had a key fob, just pressing a button. How that different habit of like taking your keys. How many of us don't have their keys in their pocket, or take your keys with you, and you didn't leave them in the car because you used to leave them in the ignition. How, like that, just that simple habit. So when he was talking about driving, I was thinking about, how change that habit of where you put your keys, or geez, I wish I could find a car that still has has the key in the ignition, because it was just such a habit of keeping the keys in there, making sure it's in there, making sure it's there. So so just that just got you thinking about habits on that. And of course, going through, we have a lot of us have a lot of bad habits that we go through, and these, the author uses examples of overeating, watching too much TV, different smoking, and it just gets you thinking about, how many things that I'm doing every day, habit wise, are not good habits for me. A lot of us know what those are, but I'm going to put some of those examples that he uses into a real estate type of thing. So two examples he used early on in the book was, and I didn't even know this, it was that he was bringing up toothpaste and Pepsodent, and was one of the examples he used, and how that it wasn't until the 20th century that brushing your teeth every day was a habit. Could we even imagine that at one time, or it wasn't too long in our history, that brushing your teeth wasn't a habit? It was someone, they did occasionally or never did. But Pepsodent, and the author brings up that they were one of the first that put the cues into people to have a habit of having minty fresh breath and brushing your teeth every day. Who knew that we needed a product out there to tell us brushing your teeth should be a habit? So, and another example was he brought up Febreze. Febreze, a lot of us use it at home or just making your house smell good, but they had different advertisements that didn't connect with people, and then they switched it to saying, hey, after you clean your house, use Febreze to put that extra touch of freshness in the air, making your clean house feel even cleaner. And then their sales skyrocketed. So the point I'm bringing up those things is two things made me think, and I'm going to go through these over this week as I'm reading the book. I know I'm going to give you more examples of this, but putting my real estate twist on it. We all know, and I've said this before during Atomic Habits and other books, is that you need to have a habit of what you do to prospect. I went through this with the fanatical prospecting last week, but you need to have habits of creating things. You have to have the cues, you have to have the routine, and you have to have the reward. So what you need to do, and I firmly believe this in any sales, but especially real estate sales, you got to get to the reward often. But you got to train your brain to what that reward is. So the reward of prospecting every day and getting into a routine and the cues to start the prospect and to network, to make those calls, send those texts, emails, follow up with people. The reward is getting a new contact, a new connection with someone. So example of what I'm building in my thought process when reading this book and what kind of habits is that you got to create a habit to yourself, and all the people that are in your database, when you're calling on them, you have to create a habit of them, help them create a habit, just like when they were using Febreze and Pepsodent, and they were creating people, they were selling their product and making people have habits to buy their product. So what you have to do is, now obviously you can't create people to buy houses, like, hey, buy a house today, and they had no idea they wanted to buy a house that day. But creating habits in your contacts, your database, when you reach out to them once a month, once a year, once a quarter, whatever your timing is on that, getting into a habit of, hey, give me a referral, a new connection. But how you do that is trying to cue their brain into thinking, which is true. You're not tricking them into that you legitimately, sincerely want to help other people, and they will be helping other people by giving them their names to contact them about future real estate. So how you do that, and what I'm picturing, and what I'm going to be telling more agents to do. I've already been doing this, but this book helped me revitalize that this is so important, is that when you're reaching out to your database of people to follow up with them, see how they're doing, check in on them, you're explaining to them that they might not need your services, but it would be very good for them to give you a few names of people that might be buying or selling a house in the near future or in the future, so you could give them your great service and be there ready for them. So explaining to them and putting it into your own words and your own way of explaining that you sincerely want to help other people buy and sell the houses with be their trusted advisor in real estate, and it would be very helpful for them to give them you other people's names and numbers, email addresses to contact on their behalf, because you want to help them and they want to help them. So if you could kind of get that, I'm sorry so if it was a little confusing, is that explaining is you want to put the thought, and every time you contact them, you want to get them in the habit of giving you a few names of other people that you could contact, because they want to help those people by giving them your information, or you will contact them, so they will be helping these other people with their future real estate things, because people want to help other people. So I know I don't want to go into too much in detail, because you got to make it your own, and everything you say to different people, this a friend, a relative, a past client, is going to be something a little bit different and make it personal to them, the exact script. But again, what you want to do is try to put that habit. I mean, you already have the habit of making the calls, making the connections, and that you got to create those habits yourself. But now, like those products in this book and the examples, that you want to explain and put the habit in your database, that they, every time you contact them, they should want to give you a name and number of a few new people each time, because they want to help those people. And by giving them giving their information to you to contact them, so now you're on their radar. So when they need help with buying or selling a house, and remember, said this all last week, remember, you're not selling them something. You're just saying, I'm contacting these people so when they're ready. So they should not be so standoffish or not want to give you a name or a number, because you're not selling them insurance. You're not trying to sell them, you're not throwing like a pampered chef party, or selling products that that you're convincing them to buy. You just explain to them, I want to be there when they're ready, and so they have a trusted real estate advisor waiting when they're ready. So I'd be happy. I love doing this, is putting these scripts together. I have a few calls with agents today doing the exact same thing. It's like how to mold it into, so it's not such a script. It's not something like they could tell you're reading off a piece of paper. It's just something to make it your own on that. So that's kind of where I've gotten so far in this book. Great book so far, is those examples, those three, the habit loop of cue, routine, reward. So today, think about is you have to make sure you figure out in your brain what the reward is every time you're prospecting. What's the reward? The reward's not going to be an instant sale. The reward is not at the end of the day after making calls and connecting with people, is you're going to have more money in your bank account that fast. The reward is seeing your database grow, seeing new people you're putting into your database of emails, connections. So that to me is a positive. It's a goal. It's a reward. A new person, a new potential client. And if you're lucky, the more you do it, the increases your chance of luck. If you the luck of someone needing to buy or sell a house now. So if you make enough calls, you're going to find someone that's going to be buying herself now. But you got to look at those people. Those new people in your database that you're connecting with are future clients, future buyers, future sellers. So as you add new people, it will pay off. Those people will buy. So imagine today, your reward today is make enough calls or connections where they give you a few more people. And then all of a sudden, by the end of the day, you got 2, 3, 4, even more new people you're adding to those database. You're calling those new people tomorrow saying, hey, your great friend or your cousin or your uncle, your nephew told me that you'd be a great contact to keep in touch with, because I was their trusted real estate agent and help them buy or sell their house. They thought I should reach out to you, make sure you are, when you're ready, I'm here to help you, because I want to help your friend, help your family, help your acquaintance. I would love to be that person, and I'll follow up with you. And then just that's the reward. You should feel happy. You should have that sense of accomplishment for the day. I connected with a new person or multiple people. So you've done two things every day. You do two things. You've connected with people from the past in your database. You've added new people. That's the reward. That's the reward. And when you feel that sense of accomplishment, you'll continue to do it, because I see agents, the reward is they're looking for buyers and sellers now. Like, I made calls all day, all week, not one new buyer or no new seller. That's great. Again, but if you made new contacts, added new people, those are future ones. And the more you do it and the more consistent you do it, you will do that. So think of a new reward so you feel a sense of accomplishment, a sense of pride, a sense of that you did something. So that habit creates. You need a reward for a habit, good or bad. There's a reward or a sense of feeling good. Like, example, people that smoke. I think, I'm not a smoker, never have been, but I'm thinking people who smoke, the reward is the feeling of, it feels good, but I know it's bad, but it feels good after the smoke, the nicotine. So so if you have any good or bad habit, there is a reward or a feeling of good, a feeling of accomplishment, feeling of something. So you got to make sure you have that feeling at the end of each day, or as often as possible, or you won't keep the habit going. You won't do that. So that's what I get out for the new part, the first part of the book. So tomorrow, we're going to go over the golden rule of habit change. And so that's the chapter I'm working on today, and the section I'm working on that today. So get the book so far. It's great. Thank you, Amy, for giving me the suggestion, and she bought me the book and sent it to my house. So I appreciate that too. So thank you very much. So, and of course, I'm always taking gifts. If you want to send me a book, I'll read it. No, you don't have to. You don't have to do that. But if you do have a good book, don't have to buy me a book. Just let me know. I'm always interested, just like I'm reading this book. I love self-help books. If you haven't already known or seen this, I love business books of how people have accomplished things. I love that kind of stuff. That I'm not a fiction type reader. I want to read things that I could implement and use and help other people too. So if you have any suggestions, I'll always take those too. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow at 11 for the next part of this great book. Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.